Man, I love what I heard today from our GM Dan Morgan and our head coach Dave Canales. Boy, oh boy, I love what I heard today, and we are going to shake things up in the NFC South next year. Mark my words. It's going to be a change. Let's get into what I took away from the press conference today. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy P Way. Welcome back to another episode of Inside P Town, presented to you by Proving Grounds, your one-stop shop destination for all things Panthers. So let's get to it. One, first and foremost, let's just acknowledge the moment right now. It is so good to have this sense of security in our building. We're in a off season where we're not worried about who our quarterback is, we're not worried about who our head coach is, and we're not worried about who our GM is. There finally is a sense of calmness and a sense of we know exactly where we need to go. And that's what Dan Morgan prioritized, letting us know what their plans are. If y'all remember last year, we really didn't know exactly what will happen. We brought Dave Canales in. We were still filling him out. We was like, okay, he's a nice guy, but how does that translate to football? This year, we know exactly what has happened, and they are making their intentions very clear. Both Dave Canales and Dan Morgan said today that the number one priority is going to be building that defensive line, starting in the trenches. Dan Morgan went a step further and said, listen, straight up, we want to do with the D line exactly what we did with the offensive line last year. Point blank, period. And he also touched on Derek Brown's status, that he is improving. His surgery went perfect. It went well, and he's strong and ready to get back to work. And Panther Nation, if that ain't good news, boy, I tell you. Because last year, I could have ran through the holes of our defense. I would have averaged like 200.
Ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
So it was good to hear that the head coach and the GM were both aligned in what they were sharing about the number one priority being that defensive line. I mean, this is a team whose leading tacklers were a corner and a safety, and Mike Jackson and Xavier Woods. That is a recipe every single year for disaster. Now, I want you guys to understand, what does that look like? We have to think about the system that we are building this defense around. In Ejiro Evero's system, running that 3-4 defense, we need a big body at nose. So it's very apparent on the exact prototype and type of defensive lineman that they're looking for. As number one is a big body. And I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. So you're probably going to see a signing either in free agency, or you're going to see a pickup in this draft of some type of nose tackle type player that can be a disruptor on first and second downs, and obviously on short distance situations. Secondly, I love that Dan Morgan and Dave Canales both spoke positively about Xavier Legette. And I want to be very clear. The country draw, the accent, the talking is cool. It's funny. You know, the horse, the dollar bill, I'm with it. But this year, he got to be better. Simple and plain. He was our first round draft pick, and he needs to play like it. I don't know what it is, but Panther Nation, we got to stop accepting mediocrity. We got to stop saying that it's okay. It's not okay. Yes, he's a fan favorite. Yes, we want him to do well, and I like him. But it's about time for us to start demanding respect and demanding success. Now, I ain't saying going crazy on X, but we need to make it very clear. You better not come here doing the same thing you're doing last year.
Stop it. Get some help.
So I'm glad that he got that wrist injury is fixed. Dan Morgan touched on that today, and he also had, I believe, a foot problem. And both of those are looking very good, and he's going to be 100% healthy when the season comes along. So if those injuries did play a factor, then hey, so be it. But we need X to have a great year next year. No ifs, ands, or buts. Dan Morgan also expressed that Taylor Moton, we know that he's in that second year of that contract that he signed, where we just been restructuring and restructuring. They're going to go ahead and take this $31 million hit on Taylor Moton's contract. So it's interesting to see how this is going to play long term and what type of long term deal in the future that we will probably work out with Taylor Moton, or if we decide to let him go for a younger tackle. Now, JC, on the other hand, Dave Canales praised JC about his work ethic and his ability last year to stay healthy on the field, and thought he was very, very deserving of, that Pro Bowl honors. Also, Dan Morgan stated that him and his agent are working together and they're trying to find a way to go ahead and give him this extension on a deal very, very soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So Dave Canales also spoke on the need to strengthen the safety room. Now, I personally like Damani Richardson. I thought he did a great job of coming up and making secure tackles in one-on-one situation, which was a nightmare compared to some of the other players in the secondary. So I like that he will still be here and get a chance to fight for a starting spot, but we can definitely use either a big time free agent hit or someone in the draft to strengthen our safety room. Now, lastly, they both spoke about the need to continue to add weapons to the offense. Yes, they are primarily focused on defense, but they said they're not going to forget about adding tools to this offense. Now, Dave Canales went a step further and spoke about the need for the Panthers to find that guy on offense. And by that guy, he said he didn't care if it was a running back, he didn't care if it was a tight end, he didn't care if it was a receiver. He wants someone who's a legit threat and causes the defense to have concern. Someone who has that playmaker ability and simply can get the ball and turn a 5 yard play to a 50 yard play. He wants that dynamic type of player. So I understand that we need to focus heavily on the defense. I'm actually okay this year if we focus solely on the defense, but they still want to prioritize adding some type of weapon to this offense. Now, I personally would like a high flyer. I personally want a receiver with speed who can stretch the defense downfield so that Thielen and Coker can do what they do best. And then we can start mixing X in there as well on some crossing routes and things underneath. That's how I envision it. But he's made it very clear. He doesn't care what position it is. He wants that guy that's going to challenge the opposing defense every single play. So if you haven't heard that press conference today, please go ahead and check that out now, man. It was just very good to see our organization in sync. They're fired up. You can see the energy, within them. They are really excited and glad to be getting back to work. And also, like I said, they are much more calm this year. This is Dave Canales' second year as a head coach, and this is Dan Morgan's second year as a GM. They're way more settled. They kind of know what to expect. And I'm hoping that this calmness lets them be aware of the situation they're in and grab the best talent for us to do what we do. Because I'm telling you right now, 2025, the NFC South, we shaking it up. So this is your boy P Way, and like always, keep pounding. Peace.